All right, hell yeah. So we're entering this wave on my strong side, but for whatever reason, it's a harder way to spin the boat. And so what we need to do is, or just spinning in a 180, I pry the boat, and then I got to jump to the other side to maybe like, like right here, if I jump to the other side, I could hold it in a 180. That's difficult for me. We can talk about that. But what I want to talk about this in this video is that I am spinning on that far side. So here's the pile, and I'm spinning on that far side. And so let's watch this just all the way through once so you can just see the spin. And it's this first spin that I'm kind of analyzing. It's an over rotation, and then we're able to almost do it again. But that first spin, so here's the pile, and we're spinning off that far side. I'm going to call that surfer's right because I'm facing upstream. That's the right side. This is the left side. Typically, if I'm going to edge on this side, I would smiley face. I'm just going to use the term like smiley face because the pile is shaped like this. And what happens sometimes is you get surf to one side or the other because the pile is kind of like a pyramid. This one does lock me over onto that side. That's kind of where it's kind of feeding into that corner. So it's more biased on that side. And then so typically on the easier side, let's say this was the easier side, I would just be edging, and then I would be edging all the way over to here, surfer's left, and I would be spinning off this shoulder. And when I do that, my body is always on the, it's going up against the pile so I can lean back. What happens is like when I do this, like I'm falling off the pile, especially like right here, the pile's right here, and I'm on the other side, and it's a real steep angle, and it feels like everything's uphill. And so I need to get my body from here to there, and that's hard for me to do, and it's hard for me to even lean back farther. When I do surf opposite and I'm in, I'm able to lean back more. But anyway, and so this just set up a different way to catch this surf, was just jumping to the high side. And when I jump to the high side, my body is over the pile because the boat spun up against the pile, and then so the boat stops real easy, and then I could just do this on repeat. And so I'm going to go to the wave, I can only go to the wave maybe once a week, but maybe try this move out. And so, yeah, hell yeah. So this is kind of an addendum to another video that I made, just to look at like, well, I'm trying to spin, and, any wave that catches you, you should be able to spin. The dynamics of spinning the boat, jumping, and doing a 180 is all the same. But I just noticed from this footage, I am never over here on the surfer's left side. I'm always on that side of the pile. So I'm just pushing up against the pile, spinning, jumping to the pile, but I'm never on this left side of the pile. So that's going to be the biggest difference of why it was more difficult to spin on this side. And again, I talked about, so if I was to spin this easy, or what I call just the easier way when I'm doing my offside, is I want to be heavily leaned back. But again, I would be on this side of the pile, and when I'm heavily leaned back, I can kind of lean back into the pile. So I think that's happening, because right now I'm leaning back, and that would be a horrible place to lean. It's just it's unbalanced. And so this is putting me neutral to forward in the boat, where if I look at my other footage of just how I easily, just go from one side to the other, I'm already way leaned back, and I'm just like rolling my hip over, or like I'm just like, rolling my hips just to get to the other side. But this feels like climbing up, something, and it just puts me in this position where it's like, oh, it's easier just to jump to the high side. And that's kind of how I'm trying to save this surf. All right, so hell yeah. So this was just spatial awareness of what side of the pile are you actually spinning, and is that getting in the way of trying to do something that you did on, for me, I was able to do this on my offside, because when I do surf on the offside, which would be this side, if I'm sitting on this side and I'm turning into the wave, I'm riding that smiley face all the way over here and then turning off that side. And so that's kind of interesting, because on this strong side, I'm a lefty, and when I do this spin on this strong side, I stay on that. I don't smiley face all the way around. And so hell yeah. So again, this video is probably just more for me, but I mean, the only way that I'm going to actually, and I'm getting better at kind of looking at the physics and being like, oh, there's a lot more going on than just me trying to do a spin and jump to a neutral position. Like, and that's why I relate it to skateboarding. I don't know if I said that. I messed this video up like 3 or 4 times. But skateboarding, you can be front and back. You can, lean left, lean right. And then so in a wave, you can be left, right. You know what I mean? So it's just, freestyle R1 is even more complex than kayaking just because there's so many body positions. I mean, yeah, so yeah, it's kind of fascinating. You can be forward, you can be back, you can shift around so much more. And so all those things kind of add up. All right, so hell yeah. All right, one more time. But yeah, I hope to do this one on repeat because overspinning, I'm going to call it the 3/4 spin because I'm going up into the pile, spinning up into the pile, and as long as I don't spin past the pile. So there's waves where it's just like, hell yeah, I'm going to try to spin. And then, okay, so there's some other aspects of this because if I do lean back, if I'm going into a pile and then lean back, I'm putting my boat right here. That's the shoulder, that's the exit, that's the lowest part. And that can stop the boat from, so the boat's coming across and, a lot of times it wants to go past the pile. But if I do throw in the pry right here, sorry about that, it's the printer. If I throw in the pry right here, that's kind of stopping that momentum this way, and it kind of locks it in. And so then if I do that pry and over rotate, the boat is still going up against the pile. I'm able to high side against the pile, and that can, do that rotation again. And if I was just quicker, so, and we do this spin move. I talk about that in the other video, but we spin to the inside. We high side and then kind of spin to the inside. And then when we land, we're just in the same position again. And so, yep, hell yeah. And just need to really crank it back in. Crank it back in, over rotate, and then edge. And then, see, I'm already switching my body around, but I do need to lay back in. So like right here, the boat's not even in, and I'm already giving up on the position. So here's entering, and so yeah, so it's so like right here the boat's right there, and I'm definitely more upright in this position, but maybe and maybe it's just because we're spinning off right there and we're coming in with, yeah, we came in with a high edge angle, so then this part of the boat didn't bite. But then when we do the second spin, it bites right there. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm able to, I'm wondering why the boat, I would have to analyze that. Like why is that part of the boat not biting and then it bites the second time around? Anyway, hell yeah. All right, watch this once. Thanks for joining me on this one. Booyah.